Hey there, I'm Super Ski, and when I'm not busy shooting Be Better out in Raw Dog Road, I'm either watching anime or watching boys play ping pong. So when I found out there's an anime about boys playing ping pong, I'm ready to shoot more Be Better out in Raw Dog Road. So let's get into it.
Oh yeah!
Wait a minute. Where'd the ping pong table go? It's not here. What?
Hey, yeah, Dad. You know that ping pong table that is in the storage room? Whatever happened to that? What do you mean you gave it to charity? But I don't care if poor kids want to play ping pong on my table. I need to make it. I need it for a video. I'm having a quarter life crisis here, Dad. I need to make my YouTube channel. Ah!
俺にしかできないことなんてないかもしれないけど何もしないまま消えてゆくの何もしないまま消えてゆくの何もしないまま消えてゆくもんかなんだっていつだって気持ちいいことがしたいだけ
I mean, I think we got the point across, right? I'm not gonna blow the bubble. I don't know how to blow bubblegum. I'm not gonna blow the bubble.
What makes a hero is one that I've seen thrown around as a major theme in many shows recently. Most notably in One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, which have similar yet differing views in the concept. However, I would argue that these shows ask the question, what does it mean to be a superhero, rather than what it means to truly be a hero. I believe that neither of these shows have the ultimate answer to that question, but the best portrayal of what being a hero truly means comes from the sports anime Ping Pong, the animation. I've always struggled with the concept of heroism even at a very young age. I remember being given a paper to write in the 4th grade. Who is your hero? Was the topic. It was a simple question, but I couldn't find an answer. In the simplest terms, a hero is someone who saves you, right? But when had I ever been in any danger? I had no memory of any dick-bulging, bright spandex-wearing Chad busting the chops of some dick-dastardly-looking head-ass in the name of my safety. Most of the students ended up learning about their mom or dad, but I couldn't wrap my head around the idea of them being heroic at the time, so instead I wrote a 4-page paper about my cat because she protected me from the ghosts at night and also somehow alerted us that our carbon monoxide detector was broken this one time, when it most certainly should have been going off. I'm so high on carbon monoxide. It's all inside my lungs. There was a lot of CO in my lungs. My cat saved an entire family from dying. She is a hero, a goddamn hero! Later in my life, when I decided to sit down and watch ping pong, I had many reservations. I mean, it's a show about a high school boys ping pong team. How exciting could that be? After watching the first episode, I could already tell there wasn't going to be a sprinkle of yaoi tension anywhere, which is the only reason you watch sports anime in the first place. Yaoi tension. But by the last episode, I was proven wrong. I believed that people can fly. I believed in heroes, but most importantly, I believe that you don't need yaoi tension for a great sports anime. Prior to watching it, I would never even believed you if I would have told you later on in my life it's going to be my number 4 favorite anime, sitting right between Hunter x Hunter and FMA Brotherhood respectively, but here we are. High school is a rough time. Not only do you have to worry about the grades, social constructs, and awkwardness, but you have to think about what comes after. Realistically, you're putting kids who still have to ask permission to use the bathroom to make some of the most important decisions in their lives. Believing that they are capable of this because they know how the specifics of a 45-45-90 triangle, and can ask what time it is in Spanish. This is why you have an epidemic of mean girls who join nursing programs, drop out a year later to something easier, then drop out completely, delete their social media for a year, then come back out of the blue to ask you to join their business opportunity pyramid scheme. For the last time, Genevieve, I'm not gonna buy your flat tummy tea! Blacked out for a second. What happened? Anyways, the point is there's a lot of pressure on you at this age. You have to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life. For many of the characters in the show, the answer to that question is ping pong, with some exceptions, but is staking your life on a sport really that great of an idea? That's the question many of them have to ask. One of the most important scenes that demonstrates this point is when the other students are jealous of the captain's life. His family owns an appliance store. After high school, he will work there and then likely take over the business. He doesn't have to make these difficult choices and wonder if they will pay off in the end. That's why they describe him as lucky, because they are off to college without prospects, with the end goal still being shrouded in mystery and full of challenges. Which is why I, as a recent college grad myself, am exercising a quarter-life crisis and starting a YouTube channel. Anyways, it is because of this pressure put on our main characters the idea of a hero is necessary. They are all in positions where they need to be saved in one way or another. However, I'm sure you will see that heroes come in more than one form. First, let's take Sakuma, the demon, Professor Ping Pong. He's a character that's very relatable to a lot of people. This is due to his frustration at not being able to overcome other players despite working 10, 100, 1,000 times even harder than them and not achieving these same results. He practices till he shits and pukes blood, but his idol Kazuma still doesn't appreciate his talent. It's always Tsukimoto this and Tsukimoto that. Which is what led him to risk everything to challenge Smile to a game, knowing full well that losing to him would mean expulsion. Hoping that the proof of his resolve and failure not being an option would push him past his limits to defeat his opponent. Unfortunately, this is a tactic that only works in anime. Now, I know this is an anime, but the point is that they're attempting to tell a realistic story to some degree. Sakuma loses the game, and along with it, his dream. He loses everything in a single moment. He can't accept the result, however, and if it weren't for Smile's devastating words after the match, I'm sure he would have continued training till he killed himself or lost his mind. You just don't have a talent for ping pong. It's a common trope to see in anime where a main character has some sort of disability in the rules of the world, and it makes them strive to become number one even harder. It's an uplifting tale, and everyone loves a good underdog story, but that's not how it works in real life. Someone who is 5'5" will never play in the NBA. A person with bad arthritis won't be able to play esports competitively. It's the brutal truth of reality, and due to Sakuma's terrible astigmatism, he would never be able to make up for his disability through sheer hard work alone. Through this brutality, Smile saved Sakuma. I know it's hard to see at first, but because of this defeat, Sakuma has freed himself from ping pong. He can still play it as much as he would like, and he does. We see him in Obaba's club later in the show, but he no longer has to stake his life on it. He's never going to be able to match the combined talent and training of the other main characters no matter how many hours he put in. He wasn't meant to stake his life in the sport. And Smile saved him from risking everything on a losing bet, and instead led him to a life where he is happy with a great job and a loving family. Later in the show, Sakuma also saves Pekko in a literal fashion when he commits a suicide attempt by jumping in the ocean with his clothes on. Pekko had been going through a deep depression after giving up ping pong following his recent defeats. He was even using excessively eating and substance abuse as coping mechanisms. Not only does Sakuma save him from drowning, but he talks some sense into him to make sure he doesn't try something stupid like that ever again. Next, I would like to talk about Kong.
Look, the point I'm trying to make is nobody is born cool. Except, of course.
His narrative explores him transforming from an arrogant player frustrated of his position in life to a humbled man proud to be the captain of his teammates. It's important to note that in the Christmas scene where every character is at their lowest points, Kong is the only one with a smile on his face. He's drinking champagne with his team, feasting on wonton, singing karaoke, and seeing the mother he had missed so dearly for the first time in months. Kong was broken because he did not feel as if he belonged here. He looked down on the other players, and it wasn't until his defeat at Kazuma's hand that this arrogant character began to flush away. He accepted his fate and began to lead his team to be better, as opposed to simply being their secret weapon. This is why he is so content to losing to Pekko in the final episodes. Not only is he comfortable with staying in Japan a little longer, but he is excited to know that it is possible to improve so much so fast. That there is still so much room to grow is the catalyst for why he eventually ends up back on China's national team, which is the place he wanted to be all along. Kong was saved by the friends he made along his journey. Now, this may be a perspective you disagree with, but I would like to talk about the final two characters in tandem because I think they're very similar. Have you ever felt pain before? I'm not talking about skinning your knee open on the sidewalk, gritting your teeth, and moving along with your day. I'm referring to the kind of pain that you can't make go away. There are a lot of things that can go wrong in your life, and sometimes what goes right isn't enough to make it worth it. Everybody's head at one point or another is in a noose, and we are likely never going to be aware of the situation of the people around us. Smile and Kazuma are tortured. They've been waiting for a hero to save them longer than anyone else, as said by Peko and Yuri. While these characters hardly interact, I see them as two sides of the same coin. The only true difference is one believes in heroes and the other does not. They both share similar depression for different reasons. Smile is lost and has no idea what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't really have any passions, any drive, any motivation. All he has is a natural talent for ping pong, which he didn't even ask for. Someone like Sakuma would have killed to have Smile's natural abilities, but sometimes talent comes to people who don't want it. Ironically, I find this very similar to the metaphor a lot of depressed people use in their lives. You will often hear the argument, "I never asked to be born," because to them, feeling nothing is better than feeling how they do all the time. Why do you think they constantly show scenes where Kazuma and Smile are working out or exercising excessively? Because it's hard to feel the pain of your emotions when your body's focused on the immediate physical pain of endurance. Smile doesn't care about victories, trophies, any of it. He just has fun playing ping pong with Peko. With Peko being as good as he is, he had to get good to compete. That's all there really is to his ability. This is why when he eventually surpasses Peko and becomes a better player, his downward spiral begins. The robot's out of control and nobody can stop it. Nobody but Peko. It becomes Peko's responsibility to save Smile once again. After all, the only times he's ever been seen smiling is when he plays with Peko. The only thing that will make him happy again is that desire to once again find the passion in the only thing that ever made him happy. Now let's shift focus to the other side of the coin. Kazuma. I would argue that he is the closest thing to a main antagonist the show has, despite it being more of a man versus himself rather than a man versus man tale. He's depicted as a monster, a dragon with a ferocious appetite for victory. He has no weaknesses. He is ping pong made flesh. The thing about monsters is that they aren't born, they're created. As a child, he's depicted as a carefree and gentle-natured person. But this all changed when he watched his father die in what is alluded to be a suicide due to the stress of debt and failure of his flower business. Due to the nature of his family, he's forced to suck it up and mask his emotions. The only place he's allowed to let it all go is in the bathroom, where nobody can hear him crying. And then his family forces the toxic trait of men not being allowed to cry on him as a child that he carries into adulthood. Suicide in this context is seen as extremely shameful in Japanese culture. It was a coward's death, not a hero's last attack. The shame would then spread to the rest of Kazuma's family, but Kazuma took the burden of it all by himself. He strove to improve his family's legacy by becoming an unbeatable ping pong monster. One that does not feel. One that does not lose, because after all, vulnerability brings defeat, and defeat brings death. He's playing every game with the burden that losing a match is the equivalent of dying. This is why we see him locked up in the bathroom before every match. He's trying to contain the anxiety of even his lesser matches, because they have the possibility of bringing death upon him. Kazuma is absolutely terrified of losing, but even more so, he's completely bored of winning. Victory feels hollow, success meaningless. Ping pong is not a game to Kazuma. Ping pong simply is. It's not fun, it's the means to an end. This is why his game with Peko is the most important match in the entire series, rivaled only by the finale with Smile. Kazuma's philosophy is completely turned on its head by exchanging a few hits with some bullheaded weirdo. Losing isn't death as long as you play with everything you had, because it means you have so much more room to grow. Once you achieve perfection, the world around you becomes stagnant. Peko broke that mundane puddle by reminding Kazuma of how fun ping pong is. He roars with excitement and cheers at every point because the game is simply a blast. He's able to grow and accept defeat as part of life. It's important to note that at the moment Kazuma accepts he's going to lose, he isn't stricken with anxiety. He smiles. And in the last episode where Peko faces off against Smile, we see a montage of all of our main characters as children when they initially discovered the game. They clearly loved it from the beginning and couldn't hide their excitement to play. I believe this is saying that along the way these characters forgot that childlike wonder as they took ping pong more and more seriously, as they staked their lives on it. Hako was the only one who truly held on to that childlike wonder. That's why he is the hero. He reminds all of our characters how much fun the game is. He brings them back to the moment they first held a paddle and had blissful ignorance to the atrocities of the world. So what is the final message of Ping Pong trying to tell us? As I said before, the most important theme is what makes a hero. Well, there aren't any wrong answers to the question, but I believe there is one that is more right than the others. Sure, a hero is someone who saves the day. A hero is someone who helps the weak, but I believe this isolates the everyday person to a space that only the elite can be heroes. That's not true. We are all a hero to somebody, because more than any strength, more than any power, a hero is someone who can make you smile.